Greetings, Matt comrades. It is your humble DM, Mike Gergoni, here to let you know that we here at Material Components are now part of the Punch Up Entertainment Network. Punch Up is proud to present such podcasts as Panel Up, The Action Shelf, and the very podcast you're listening to right now. And of course, the best way to support all of these shows is by going to patron.podbean.com/punchup and becoming a patron today. When you do, you'll get access to all sorts of bonus content, including a brand new one-shot from the folks here at Material Components, in which our heroes attempt to solve a murder in the urban fantasy streets beyond the Veil. If you ever wanted to hear Michael Listman playing as Detective Sasquatch, now's your chance. Once again, that's patron.podbean.com/punchup. Thanks for all the support, and now, let's get you into this week's episode. Material Components, Season 2, Episode 68, A Matter of Pride. Greetings and welcome to Material Components, the actual play RPG show all about a galaxy of magic and the adventurers who live there, now on the Punch Up Entertainment Network. I'm your humble Dragon Master, Mike Gergoni, and joining me, as always, are my stalwart adventurers. Hey, adventurers. Thanks for being here.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, hi.
Hey, hi, indeed. Hello, everybody. I am Olivia, and I will be playing Florian of Aquilar.
I am Elliot, and I am playing Shay, the Elven Wizard.
Hey, hi. I am Michael, and I am playing Oswald Octavian Theophilus III.
And I'm Reed, and I'll be playing Amari.
Indeed. And of course, before we begin today's episode, I would like to ask the same question I ask every time, and that is, Elliot, do you remember what happened last time?
Barely, but we'll get there. We'll get through it together. So, we're in the aftermath of our visit with the Archproctor, and we're off to run our other errands. And it seems that Kala is having a bit of a crisis. She's having some issues with trying to tell if she's in the real world. I feel very bad for her.
Yes, there was a bit of a snafu, let us say, in the midst of your interactions with the Archproctor, in which discussions of subjective reality were had, and
I have done nothing wrong in my life.
I know this, and I love you. And it's like a hard one to prove too. It's hard to be like, this is real. Like, are you sure? Oh, okay.
Florian was very sure.
Are you still? Amari tried to give her a pep talk. Didn't really work out. We probably, the curse of Reed, we probably should have had someone else do that, but
Consistency. Just so consistent as a leader, human being. Oh, good.
We made a brief pit stop, and I remember now why we did it. It was because it was the nearest place that I could fast travel us to. And we made it to Nearind. Before we were able to land, Mari made contact with his wife. I said off recording that I couldn't remember her name, but I don't actually think that I knew it in the first place, so...
I don't know if any of y'all's characters actually know her name.
Mari does not tell us anything.
And again, another rule of Reed. If you are not sure if if he's told you something, the answer is he has not. But we were redirected once we got in contact with her to a different landing pad, much swankier part of town, so to speak. And there are a lot of people out there, lots of the not paladins, obviously. Wait, no, they are paladins, right? Yeah.
Yes, you saw Hegemony paladins. Paladins being kind of a job that is akin to a bodyguard, but taken like super seriously.
And I think 3 matriarchs. It was reported, or estimated. No less than 3 matriarchs at this meeting. And I thought we were all going out, so Shay was like, "Yeah, I'm going out with Amari," and oof, isn't that what it looks like? But
Yes, because in the last moments of last session, we landed on the hegemony-controlled world of Nearind. There, you were redirected to a private landing berth once it was made known to the officials here on this world that a certain somebody by the name of Amari Kelrakasa was aboard. You were greeted by this paladin honor guard accompanying, yes, 3 matriarchs, 2 of whom Amari would have recognized on sight. I think only one of whom Shay would recognize. But there was that awkward moment when the teacher asked for volunteers, and it seems like the rest of the line stepped backwards to leave Shay and Amari out in front of everybody. So while Oswald, Florian, Kala, and your Cogrish companion Vesnus stay aboard your ship, Shay and Amari, you are descending the ramp onto Nearind to be greeted by matriarch Talihania, who you've recently become aware is a hegemony politician after you encountered her at the Five Flames Casino. You are confronted by who you know to be but haven't met, Geminus Sesru, who is like the governor of this world, and Amari's wife, Layla, who none of you have actually met before besides Amari.
Honestly, it'd be weird if they had met.
It's true.
I mean, it could be one of those, like, we got married and then I immediately went off to war things. That happens.
The kids ain't his.
Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah,
Olivia.
His children.
Wait, did you read my notes? You read my backstory notes? Oh. Oh, this is awkward. All right.
I was wondering why all the kids had feathers.
Yeah.
Weird. She said it's just a normal thing. It happens in her family. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
Genetic.
Yeah.
It's a recessive gene.
genes, yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm.
So, Amari and Shay, you stand now at the bottom of the Tiresian's loading ramp that leads back up into the cargo bay. Before you is a gaggle of security personnel, not least of which are these paladins that stand nearby as personal security for the Geminus. Standing just behind the Geminus to either side of her is 2 other Leons. Everyone here is a Leon besides Shay on this landing pad right now. So these tall, athletic cat people of differing color patterns and persuasions. You've got ones that have the stripes of tigers, the spots of leopards, the kind of like golden manes of lions. There's a couple you see among the security personnel that have like the almost invisible hair of like Egyptian, like furless cats. There are 2 that are these enormous creatures with big tufted ears that look like Maine Coons, and they are just like towering near 7 foot tall monster catmen. And they are definitely among the paladins who stand near the Geminus. And the Geminus is dressed in a professional kind of business suit attire with greens and golds that seem to be some kind of emblem of her own pride. The paladins behind her are dressed in similar tones. You see that Matriarch Hania is dressed in her own house colors of yellows and blues, and thinking back, you're now pretty sure she was dressed in a similar color scheme back at the casino, albeit in a more casual fashion. She's still dressed in like a long flowing gown that falls around her legs in these strips so that her legs can move freely, and it makes this weird rippling pattern as the garment flows beneath her waist. The third woman is dressed in colors that Amari would be familiar with, but only passively so. The fact that they're being highlighted now is somewhat disconcerting to him. The fact that the house colors of Pride Rakasa are on display here so prominently is a new thing. And what are the colors of House Rakasa, Amari?
Oh, red and gold.
Absolutely, red and gold. Pride Rakasa is not well known. It is not of high station. It is not prominent in any way, shape, or form. At least it wasn't a year and a half ago. The fact that your wife is standing here next to a planetary governor and another matriarch whose rank and station allowed her to send a private communique to you across the metanet asking for you to be here is strange, to say the least. So as you stand there and as the honor guard behind the Geminis salute you and cry your name out, hailing the arrival of Prefect Amari, as the chorus of shouts die down, and the Geminis, who's looks a little distracted, she has a data pad in her hand and she's constantly glancing back down to it and tapping at things, maybe sending messages or confirming certain selections, you're not exactly sure, but she seems utterly unconcerned with what's actually happening here. Meanwhile, Matriarch Hania is staring between the two of you with this kind of delicious, almost predatory smile. She is definitely looking at the situation here, and there is this sense that she knows something that is giving her an immense amount of pleasure right now. Meanwhile, Layla's face is sort of drawn. What does Amari's wife look like in terms of like build of cat person?
In terms of build, a cat person, Mike, think very like snow leopardy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So white, black spots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She has these black spots that are dappled with these little blobs of almost like ivory gold at their center. They've kind of got this like little dappled sheen that blends in with the rest of her otherwise white pelt. She has these magnificent, like crystal blue eyes that are not leaving you, while Major Hania is looking between you and Shay and the ship and smiling, especially as she looks past you at the other ship in your holding bay, the rather gaudy golden spacecraft that is still sitting in your your cargo hold.
Well, wait. Oh, that's like, would that be immediately visible? Are we coming? Did you exit from the cargo hold?
Yes.
That's the only exit?
It's not the only exit, but it's the easiest exit for multiple people to troop out of.
Shit.
But she seems to be the only one who is amused by that fact.
Oh, well, she probably already knew we stole it, so whatever.
Yeah.
And the Geminis will finally glance up from her data pad and stare at you. She is this, in stark contrast to Layla, she is this like pure black leopard with these dark, almost gold, but with these like little red flecks in them eyes. And she looks up at you and says, "Prefect Amari, welcome to Nearind. Pride Nearia welcomes you and offers you guest rights, of course."
Thank you. Was this all necessary?
For the hero Fortin, of course it is.
Mm-hmm.
You have not made a public appearance since the memorial service on Vast Plains, so we thought pomp and circumstance appropriate.
Great. Well, I believe we have some things to talk about.
Yes, of course. Matriarch Rahania has informed me of this. While my presence may not be directly necessary, you have use of a private suite in our political chambers.
It's greatly appreciated. Hospitality is quite nice.
The embassy suites are but a cart ride away. We have several vehicles ready for you and any who might accompany you. And she'll glance over to Shay.
I'm like looking at Amari like, is this like usually the appropriate time to introduce oneself? I don't want to like step on any like tradition or whatever.
You don't want to step on any traditional toe beans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be very rude.
Mm-hmm.
As you two exchange a glance, the Geminus will say, "If your staff has to grab your luggage, we can wait."
What do you want me to put a call back to Florian, or?
I mean, they didn't want to come, so
That's true.
maybe we make them carry the bags. Yeah, do it.
One moment.
And if needs be, we can send another transport for you and your staff, if you and Matriarch Hania wish to depart immediately.
No, we can wait. Got all the pomp and the circumstance, going on out here. Why let's use it all.
The Geminess kind of cringes a little bit. You see her jaw tightening as she smiles and says through her teeth, "Of course, Prefect."
The shit-eating grin that Elliot is doing is also in character. Shinam, by the way, part of Amari's crew, engineer, Tuck for Tux, currently.
The Geminess will pause slightly as though, like, recalculating certain social protocols, and then she will say, "I'm sure."
I'm also trying to do the math on how funny it would be if Shay had accidentally worn an outfit that was red and gold.
I think the calculation ends up being equals hilarious.
Yes.
Go
Spend
for
an
it.
experience point.
Do it.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what that would cost.
I only specified that I wore my formal crop top. I didn't say what the rest of the outfit was.
Sure, but to retroactively make your outfit somewhat gauche, I am going to require an experience point.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, excellent.
So yeah, I think the crop top is like I think it's just like eyebrow. It's just enough of like is that? So I think the top, the formal crop top is like burgundy, and Shay is wearing like nice but kind of like loose, casual looking, like some kind of earth tone, waist bag, paper like waist bag pants. And like some kind of off the shoulder, vaguely sheer, like gold jacket.
Okay. As the Geminess accepts your introduction and the thought of waiting, she will turn to the honor guard and nod towards one of the huge Maine Coon looking paladins, and that particular paladin will turn and snap off a few quick words that aren't in a language Shay would understand. Amari, you would know that this is Setish. It is a type of Lian language, though it's like a military drawl version of that. So it's like the same way you hear Marines going like,
What they all sound like to me.
Is that
Yep,
what
that's
they
what they all
sound
sound
like?
That's what they sound like. Just those like really drawn out words. It's like the edges of the sounds have been sheared away by the need to shout them.
Like staff sergeant style, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that point, the honor guard like falls into an at ease position and files out to either side to reveal a few transports that are on the other side of the berth. Here on this, again, remember, you are on this enormous floating platform that is above an even larger golden pyramid at the center of a metropolis beneath you. This is the height of wealth and opulence for at least this small world.
I'll get on the, like, communicators and be like, look, are you guys gonna come or what? Like, they're doing, like, money out the wazoo out here. I've stepped away from, like, the main... like, excused myself so I can go use words like wazoo.
Mm-hmm.
Well, wazoo is a common Lian word, so it's totally
it's
fine.
Borrowed from Setish.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
While this was all happening, Florian and Oswald, you were staunchly of the opinion that you didn't want to leave the ship or even really be seen by anybody outside.
Not able to be seen from this current. Even if it's like pressed against the backside of the like cargo bay, like hiding. It wouldn't be. We'd just be somewhere else on the ship, but
Just upstairs, yeah.
I merely use that to illustrate how little I want to be seen.
Yeah.
Oswald?
Yes.
I'm assuming that communication, I can just like beepily beep and make it either the text appear or just have it be on speaker.
Oh, it was like sent to both of you. I'm assuming I'm using like the same communication thing that we use when we're on a mission and we've split the party as we are wont to do.
Yes.
So,
Right, well, I guess it's time to meet, you know. Seems like it's friendly, welcoming, right?
Oh,
Where
no,
are
it's
you right
awkward
now,
as
Oswald?
Fuck out here.
I mean, I'm not in the cargo hold.
Sure, where are you?
probably the like mess, maybe?
Okay.
Like, preferably with Kala and Vesnes. If we were all together, that would be ideal.
Kala is in her room. She is not out and about. But
that's-
Vesnes would be...
That's fair. Yeah.
Vesnes was also of the opinion that, like, she does not want to go out there for lots of reasons.
Yeah.
For so many reasons,
fair.
yeah.
And Vesnes will say, not on comm, but just to Oswald and Florian, you do not have to go out there.
That's true.
Right, like,
Because
You don't have to play their game.
is
I
it a
don't
game?
want to.
I don't
Oh
wanna
God,
play.
I'm
Here's the
sure
thing.
it's some stupid
Here's the
politician thing.
What if they
It's
knew that I was
100%
the
a stupid
one who
politician
was
thing.
responsible for, and he starts like going on about like his sort of involvement in what transpired on Seawell. It's like, yes, it was my idea. Just to remind everybody that I mentioned that I was working with the Hegemony. Now that's probably not why we're here, but it could be. And so if that is the case, and really quickly, Mera,
Yes.
while we're on this planet, if you could just stay out of sight and just keep tucked away, just to make sure that you stay safe, and we'll let you know when we're leaving and when you can come out from your hiding spot.
Fascinating. All right.
Excellent. All right, that's probably the most important thing. Anyways, should we go out? I'm very nervous about the idea.
Vesnes will get on the party line. We're not coming out.
Oh,
And I'm assuming that Oswald has not turned his comm off while he's like
No.
ranting about this.
No.
I'm just making eye contact with Amari and just like slowly like shaking my head like, all right. Well, I don't know. Have fun doing nothing. I'm gonna go get fucking wasted. Bye.
Let us know if you need anything. If they try to
And I walk
kidnap,
back
if they
over.
try to kidnap you, please contact us.
They try to kidnap me. I'll just like fly away or whatever. Anyway, bye. And I will return and placidly say, Prefect Kelrakasa, it seems that the rest of our your coterie will not be joining us.
Okay. Well, we'll have the bags sent over then.
Yeah.
And the Geminess will say, "Very well. Matriarch Rahania, I leave the prefect in your capable hands." And she will turn to leave, leaving Matriarch Tali Rahania to take a step forward. The Ra is new to you, Shay. Before she was just being called Matriarch Hania, so you're not quite sure what's happening here.
In the last,
there's some,
week.
There's some, Leon naming convention stuff that you're trying to grapple with that, is not quite clicking just yet. But there's clearly, layers of respect and protocol here that Amari has not prepared you for in any way, shape, or form.
Maybe she could tell me over drinks later.
Do it, please.
The Geminess will depart with a few quick steps as though she was always intending to move this quickly at all times, and this seriously broke her stride today.
Ain't nothing gonna break my stride.
The paladins will fall out behind her, except for one rather large, tabby-looking fellow with a series of scars across his left eye that leaves the pupil this milky white with a band of skin kind of stretched over the pupil a little bit.
Mysterious.
And the paladin will say, "I have been left in your service while you stay here, Prefect Amari."
And you are?
And this paladin identifies himself as, it would be Roli Nu Neria.
Taking a note?
That would identify him to you as a member of the Geminus's pride. Whether or not he's a husband, probably not, but he's definitely part of the noble house of this family.
Okay.
And he is armed like all the other paladins with this long sword that is curved outward so that the blade is kind of on the inside of the curved blade. We might call it a khopesh. That's kind of what it looks like. And the blade itself is made of very finely ground faceted gemstone. This is an aethite blade of some kind.
Well, Paladin, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. You can just call me Amari. You don't have to call me Prefect. Thank you.
Of course, Prefect.
Okay.
I like this one.
And the honor guard doesn't file out of this location. They do kind of move to the edges and leave you room to get to the transports. One of the transports departs as the Geminus leaves, and Matriarch Hania and your wife are left there, though Hania does approach you, and Layla falls into step behind her. And the Matriarch will smile at you and say, "We're not going to be seeing any of your other colorful companions today?"
Not that I know of.
Unfortunate. Well then, we should be leaving. It's rather windy up here.
Is it windy or...
It's really not.
Yeah.
Something is stabilizing the wind up here artificially.
Yeah, it's yeah, the wind, it's messing up my...
And she will make a gesture, and a batch of the honor guard will file out over to the transports. It seems they get geared up and ready to leave, though a detachment of them does stay here. It looks as though they are staying to guard the Teresian.
I was actually going to mention, right around when Amari says, "I guess we'll have the bags sent later," the cargo hold just seals up completely and does a Tiresian gets locked down.
Mm-hmm. You see the void shutters close on the observation deck on the top, and
and the sound of a locked car fall.
Yeah.
Somehow, you hear all the locks click, even though this is etherically powered.
boop boop.
Okay.
A single port is open and a gun is just sticking out of it.
Oh no, the Akalar roots, they're coming out.
A single hoof is seen busting a panel out of the side of the ship, and a blunderbuss is stuck out.
It's not space worthy anymore. What are you doing?
I really had to like dig through the side of that ship to do that, but it was worth it for the bit.
It took hours.
It's like the scene from the MST3K movie where Crow's digging through the bottom of the ship with a pickaxe. Leastways. So with this paladin falling in to step behind you, Amari, and your wife falling in to step behind Matriarch Hania, she would gesture towards one of the transports at the end of the berth and say, "After you, Prefect."
Do they look any different? The two transports, or is like everything the same?
They're all basically the same. They're all in the browns and golds of Pride Nearia, which is the pride that owns and operates this planet, it seems like. You're beginning to realize that, like, maybe the planet is named after them, or vice versa. Tough to say.
Food for thought. Well, I lead the way. Just like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And with all the pomp and circumstance of a ridiculous bureaucracy built on backstabbing and reputational gain, you are bustled towards this transport by a matriarch who seems to have some kind of leash on your wife. You are accompanied by a bloodsworn paladin of the local power and a batch of the honor guard that troop into a transport that is not the one you're flying in, but is one that is going to accompany you. That leaves one transport still on the berth with the Tiresian, with a batch of the honor guard remaining behind. You find your way into a palatial personal transport that is like the interior of a limousine, but like the inside of a spaceship, essentially. You've got a shuttle, very much like the ones you used to use back with the Cole Foundation, but the inside is this lavish, plush material that is actually incredibly coarse to the touch for you, Shay, but for any Leon, it is incredibly satisfying. For like, once you sit down, your like claws dig into the material a little bit, and it's actually like, have you ever seen those mattresses that are made up of like a ton of little strips, and your body kind of like sinks into it, but your arm can go down into one of the strips if it needs to? It's all kind of made of material sort of like that. So it's incredibly comfortable, but also like you can get your fingers into the grooves and kind of dig it a little bit, and it's clearly meant to do that. As you sit down on one side of the transport along this long, comfortable bench seat, the paladin moves up towards the front of the ship with the pilot, and your wife and Matriarch Hania sit opposite you on a bench directly in front of you. There is a small table to your right and their left coming out of the bulkhead of the ship that has a small drinks cabinet that sort of appears as the ship closes in on itself and prepares to take off. You can see that all of the glassware is like gravitationally sealed to this, so no matter what maneuvers this ship makes, if the glass is set down on this table, it's not gonna fall off. This is all incredibly obtusely expensive. And the ship takes off, and there's almost no sound to it. You can feel it because of gravity and stuff, but there is no accompanying like rattle of metal. There's no like thrust of gemstones coming online with power like you're used to inside of a shuttle. It's nearly silent.
It's a Prius of the future, but like a souped up Prius of the future.
Yeah, there's definitely some soundproofing etherics happening in here. And as you begin to fly, Hania will look between Layla and you, Amari, and just smile. Where are your eyes in this moment?
Amari is just like going back and forth between the two. And then when he notices that she is doing the same thing, is like focused in on Layla. And
Layla, whose gaze has never really left you, outside of needing to look where she's going, is, like I said, mouth drawn, very focused, it's very clear to you that she's trying not to betray anything. But it seems as though Matriarch Hania is determined not to be the first one to speak in this flight. So I'm wondering if either of you try to make any small talk.
Given that Amari doesn't care for all of everything that just happened, he's gonna, like, who wants a drink? I mean, it's here. We might as well. Jay? Layla?
Oh, I'd love one. Thank you.
Matriarch Hania. Excuse me. Hania.
Yeah, that definitely tipped you off some, Amari. The Ra prefix on a matriarch's name would indicate that she is the head of a pride.
Lovely.
And so when she turns and says, "Would you care for anything, Layla Rarakasa?" you are taken aback.
It's one of those moments where you gotta, like, stretch your jaw just a little bit because something just like, God damn it.
And Layla, whose eyes will finally leave yours for the first time, will blink very slowly, like cats do, and glance over at Matriarch Hania and say, "Of course. Your choice, Matriarch. You do have fine taste in drinks." And Tali will give another smile and nod, and she will begin mixing a couple of drinks next to her at the drinks table. And eventually she comes out with 4 glasses and passes 2 over to the other side of the shuttle towards the 2 of you and hands 1 off to Layla. And she will curl a claw around the rim of the glass, and rather than making that subtle hum of a finger along a wet glass, it'll make this slight screeching noise as her claw drags across the crystalware. It'll go for like a beat, just a... And then she will say, "And what should we drink to? Huh?"
Homecomings.
I was about to suggest the exact same thing. And she will lift her glass and toss it back.
Is it good, Mike? How good is it? How does it... Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, why not?
You drink the drink?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll drink the drink. And all of its iocane powder it contains.
I'm definitely, like, trying to subtly take the lead of whoever is drinking it, because I'm not sure I know what this drink is.
It looks like juice of some kind, but you definitely saw multiple things getting mixed into it.
So...
Jungle juice.
Oh god, it's 12 Loco. How do they make it from scratch?
It has the consistency and the color of Sunny D. I'll say that much.
Okay,
we bottled the sun, and you're drinking it.
I mean, Talihania threw it back. She's the one who made it, so again, doing a lot of math this episode, doing a lot of social math this episode. I'll throw it back.
Okay. It is smooth, citrusy, with like a slight burn on the back end.
Good.
But you can immediately feel like, ooh, that has some alcohol in it. Layla does not touch her drink. She holds it, but does not tip it backwards.
Interesting.
And by she I mean Matriarch Hania says, "We will be at the embassies shortly. I will say, you should be aware that there are ears in many places where we are going. So if there is anything you would wish to divulge about your friend from Vanakel now, it might save a lot of heartache in the long run."
Reed wants to know who we're talking about.
Vanakel is the Avia homeworld.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Okay.
Oh, that dipshit. No, I don't.
Yeah, I was like, who's from there? I don't know. There's so many damn planets.
It's true.
Yeah.
And I have to keep track of
I know.
all of them.
Mad lads.
I like the idea of Amari just saying, I don't know, there's so many damn planets.
You would know Vanikel. Like, all the species home worlds are pretty well standard known.
I believe he was right.
Yeah.
Cut to Oswald on the ship. You know what, Florian, you're right. It's probably not about me.
Right? Like, it's probably, I mean, his wife was seemingly there.
Right.
So, like, it's probably about that.
Yeah, because only the what was it, Ragnar Faversen saw me. So like, what's
and also all that nonsense that we took care of with his old I don't know, military buddy being a terrorist thing. Like, all that needed to get solved. It's probably all that.
I mean, if anything, we did the galaxy a favor because they had some very destructive weapons. So I'd like to think that it's not about that.
He's probably just going to collect some medals for all of them.
Yes, right. And, give us, like, military uniforms because we're all heroes, I think. Honorary.
No, I don't. That's not good.
I'm not saying we'd have to wear them, but, just to honor, the service we've done for the...
Vesnus will like stare at you just dead-eyed with her weird amber eyes that kind of like catch the light like a cat's, and she'll blink real hard and say, I can never tell when you're joking or if you're just plain insane.
I am trying to be optimistic.
Right. Optimism.
Yes. Anyways, who wants a drink?
They don't have
Vesnus will raise her hand.
They don't have optimism on the Cogger's homeworld.
No.
No. It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
They have the great working, and that is all.
Oof.
You go.
Yes?
Yeah, I was gonna say if they're done, I've got something, but I don't know.
Yeah. No, back in the shuttle.
Everything that just happened between Florian, Oswald, and Vesnus is what plays word for word in Amari's head about, like, what do you think is happening right now on the ship?
In the movie version of this, the editing of it makes it very unclear what's actually happening.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, were you looking to speak to anyone on my ship or any member of my crew?
Specifically, Prefect Kelrakasa, I was hoping to speak with you. But the fact that you do not have... Well, I do not want to use the word prisoner just yet.
Understood.
Let us say individual of politically inconvenient is the words I would use to describe your friend. But he is aboard your ship, yes?
I don't know. None of my coterie came out, so he might not be.
And you see the barest hint of a smile creep across Layla's face. And as soon as Hania looks back over at her, it's gone. But she will, Tali will look back at you, her smile somewhat diminished, and say, I see. Well then, Prefect Amari, we will see you to your quarters at the embassy, and we can have a proper discussion.
Of course. I look forward to it.
And she will make herself and only herself another drink and nurse it as the transport makes its descent down into the city. It's a short flight, probably no more than 15 minutes. And you find yourself landing on the roof of an enormous skyscraper that is still dwarfed by the huge replica pyramid at the center of this city. Again, the pyramid is a faux-inspired kind of tribute to the massive Sun Forge, which is a piece of God's tech on the Leon home world. And this huge structure is, in turn, not even half as big as the original. So the, 70-story hotel skyscraper that you find yourselves on being about a third as tall as this pyramid gives you some scale to that. The top of this building is windswept, and you find your hair tousled as you exit the transport and make your way over to a private series of elevators on the top of this building. You see that there is armed security up here as transports come and go. You are in the middle of a Leon metropolis. The vast majority of people you're going to be seeing here are Leon. There are a few Lycan and Urson that you also see here and there, but for the most part, I would say 95% of the population of this planet is Leon. As you make your way into the lifts with yourselves, the two matriarchs, and Paladin Rolly right behind you, it is just the five of you in this lift as you descend downward. And there is an awkward, silent beat as the elevator music plays. Da, 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 da. And that's as much as I can do without legal strikes happening.
Amari starts humming along to it, just to, and purposefully tapping his foot off beat, just to be an ass.
And Layla starts tapping her foot in a counter beat that is still offbeat with the song that's actually playing. And in the reflection in the doors just in front of you, you can see Tali Rahania's face drawing into a, this day isn't going how she thought it was going to go look.
Never does.
Jay is trying so hard to not, so hard to keep the, placid smile. I love these two kids. I'm so glad they got together.
And the lift lets you out on the 50th floor of this place. You find that you are in what appears to be some kind of combination of huge, presidential suites and staff and meeting rooms. It seems to be split between actual living quarters and places where you can have almost boardroom-esque meetings with big long tables and well-supplied snack tables along the sides of these rooms with troughs of water and stimulant and whatever you might need to host a big talk of some kind, while still having a grand view of the pyramid in the near distance and the rest of the city in the opposite quarter, looking out towards the sparkling seas of Nearind. As you are brought into a large suite, Matriarch Hania will turn and say, "I will leave you to make yourself comfortable and return in an hour's time, so we can have our debrief on precisely what happened on Seawell,
Of course.
If you need anything, I'm sure Layla will see to your needs." And she will turn and almost bump into the paladin who is standing near the exit to the room. And he, it really does look like he delays moving just a little bit so that she has to, stop and kind of give him a look like, "You're going to move, right?" And then he'll shift out of the way.
Oh, you gotta look out for those paladins. They just jump right out at you, so.
And there is no expression on the paladin's face, but there is a slight snarl, a curl of the lip to reveal a long, pearly fang in Matriarch Tali Rahania's lips as she leaves the suite you are left in, with your wife and Shay and a grouchy-looking tabby cat of a paladin.
I give the paladin Rolly a thumbs up, just like.
And there is the barest hint of a nod.
Mm-hmm.
Paladin Rolly will say, "That one has... It is not my place to say. If you need me, I will be outside."
Much appreciated.
Maybe I should also give you and Layla a moment alone. Layla, lovely to meet you. Or matriarch, pardon me.
And Layla, who's visibly, her shoulders have sank a little bit, and her ears have kind of like perked up. They were kind of laying flat this whole time. Her tail has stopped twitching, is just kind of like limp up near the ground. And she like lets out a sigh and finally looks at you, Shay. For maybe the first time, she actually takes you in, and like there's a bit of a double take. She'll glance at Amari and then glance back at you and say, "Absolutely fantastic to meet you."
I really am just the engineer.
I'm sure.
Okay, I'll give you. I'll
Amari's
hop Rolly, I guess.
like smiling at this, just like, what? No. Go have fun, Shay.
Shay, where are you going?
To flirt with the tabby cat.
Yeah, I'll go outside. I'm gonna go outside and hang out with Rolly. See if there's anything there. I don't know.
Okay. Amari.
Mm-hmm.
When finally the door closes as Shay goes out into the hall to try to distract a professional who's doing his job, you are finally alone with your wife for the first time in almost 1.5 years. You don't know what you expect Layla Rakasa to do. You're not sure if you know this woman anymore. She turns to look at you, and you can see that there's something she wants to say, but you see the words catch in her throat. And she'll turn away and move towards a table on the side of the room and say, "Can I make you something that isn't some fancy-ass drink?
Do they have...
I don't know how to make a sun drop."
Do they have water on this planet? I mean, I don't know. Is that too low class?
Water. Water is great. I want water.
Okay. I can get you water since, I mean, you're the matriarch now. I can do that.
And she moves over to the side of the room where there's like a water tank with some glasses nearby, and you can see that there's some like slices of citrus fruit floating in the water. And she will like start pouring a glass for herself. It's like a big tall glass, and she's just like back to you pouring this glass of water, not saying anything.
Amari's head is definitely like down, like hung just a little bit. Like, good one. Good that. Mm-hmm.
And she'll start pouring a second glass of water and still not saying anything.
I mean, I just let the silence play out until she comes back.
Okay.
Amari's good at not talking.
Yeah. And finally, when the sound of the water pouring stops, and there's the slight clink of a glass being set down on a hardtop table, and you see her shoulders bunching up, and her head kind of coming down, and her ears lying flat back, and she's still not turning around, and she's still not saying anything, as her hands brace on the tabletop, and her shoulders collect behind her, and her head goes down, and you can hear her breathing as she sucks in a big inhale, and then doesn't release it for a couple of seconds, and then exhales, and you see the tension kind of melting out of her shoulders a little bit.
I think Amari would take that moment to just like sidle up next to her and just put like a hand on her shoulder.
And you see her lean into it slightly, and she lets out another breath, this one quicker, more shaky. And still without looking at you, she crosses a hand across her chest and places it on yours. And she squeezes the hand as though to confirm that it's real.
Give a squeeze back. 2 squeezes, and just in case you didn't notice the first one.
And still holding the hand, she will turn around so that her hand like uncoils herself, so that she never lets go of your hand until finally she is looking down at your clasped hands together in front of her, and she's staring down at them where they're touching. And she'll say, "Is this what it's going to take? Is this what it's going to take to get you to come back?"
Now you made Reed sad. Layla, I would have been back sooner. Things got out of hand.
I should say so. No one's talking about war, but I don't know what you and your friends did to upset the freeholds like you did, but it's bad, Amari.
I know. He looks around at the room and then looks at her and then gestures to the room and points at his ear, basically signaling, is this place bugged? Amari would be surprised if it wasn't.
And Layla doesn't look up at your gestures. She hasn't looked up at your face this whole time. She's still staring down at where the two of you have your hands touching each other in front of her. She will let out a breath and then step in to get really close to you. Still not looking up. She's a little shorter than you. Her head will rest slightly to the side against your chest. She's looking down and away, and you're kind of propped and staring over her shoulder. And you see her other hand slip into a pocket. She is dressed fairly formally in kind of a formal suit dress. It kind of has a jacket with kind of a skirt that falls down to about mid-calf. It's something akin to a military uniform, but kind of skewed to be a little bit more civilian. And she puts the free hand of hers into one of the coat pockets, and she pulls out a small device. And I don't know if you've ever seen anything like this before, but you have a vague idea of what it is. And when she presses a button on it, you can absolutely tell what it is, because you can feel the crinkling folds of some kind of envelope of energy surrounding the two of you. And she will say in a semi-shaky, breathless voice, "Of course this place is bugged."
Oh, should we go someplace else?
There is no place else here.
Not even for, a walk? I can't have the sidewalks bugged.
Why do you think they left the paladin with you, Amari?
Fair enough. Shay's really good at distracting people, though.
Okay.
We don't have to. We can be here. It's okay.
If I leave, people would notice. If you leave, people will notice. If we disappear, people will notice.
Okay. I know I'm in probably pretty serious danger with all this, both outside of this room and the forces that be. What about you?
It depends on a lot of things. How are you going to play this? That friend of yours, there is implication that we, the Hegemony, were hunting down some kind of weapon of mass destruction being smuggled through Freehold's territory.
Mm-hmm.
And you are directly tied to that.
Yeah.
Now, by the time our people showed up, there was not a weapon. But then, a lot of evidence started showing up on the metanet.
Mm-hmm.
So now people don't know what to believe.
What is it the Hegemony wants? Or is it the Hegemony, or is it Matriarch? Gosh, dang it, what's her name?
Hania.
Hania, dang it.
And Layla will say, Tali thinks she can get something out of this. I think she's wrong, but she is one of my sponsors. So, Pride Rakasa has gained certain acumen in recent times. I perhaps implied that you were at the center of something larger, that perhaps you did know about that weapon, and that there may have been certain clandestine operations put in motion by Pride Rakasa. Now, I don't know what actually happened, and she will finally push back and away and look up at you, and she will say, in a very earnest but slightly trembling voice, "Are you willing to tell me?"
Anything you want to know.
What happened on Seawell?
We went in to find a way to hide ourselves. And in doing so, like things usually do, things got out of hand. One of my team stumbled on something that we weren't supposed to find. And threw out somehow that we were associated with the Hegemony. Because Matriarch Hania was there.
And what he found is what it looks like? Okay. And Tali didn't know anything about this at the time.
Didn't she? I haven't spoken to her about it at all.
Amari, if you're joining another Pride, if you want her to take you, it's fine.
I'm sorry. Oh, say that again. Say that. What?
And she'll take a step away, slightly taken aback by your reaction. Well, she implied if you want, I don't know what your goals are anymore, Amari. I don't know what you want anymore. If you're trying to get a leg up in the Hegemony, that's fine. That's the game. We all play the game.
No, I'm actively trying not to play the game.
And she will remember the device in her right hand, just as she is about to take a step away again, and then get back close to you, as you felt the energy envelope kind of brushing up against your back and getting close to you again, but not touching you anymore. She will say, "What have you been doing for the last year?"
Okay, so
Charity work.
the voice of Florian plays in my head. Yeah, don't lock your knees for this, because you're going to be standing for a while. You know about the Cole Foundation?
Some aid organization. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's a pretty big one. They do a lot of good in the galaxy. So,
sure.
That's why we plaster on the sides of ships and stuff like that. So, I think they do good work.
Then it's the one of those big organizations that does. They're all after something, Amari.
Oh, wouldn't you like to know?
Yes.
I'm going to tell her. Y'all stop shouting at your muted mics, you weirdos. And then so the full rundown.
Your fake wife, dump him.
Axel Amandito swings on a rope through the glass window, and it's just like, I hear somebody's single. But yeah, can we move over to the chairs or something? Because this is gonna take a bit.
Fine. And she will walk away from you, taking a few quick strides over to a long couch. You can feel yourself leaving the ripple energy envelope as she moves away. It seems as though it has a pretty tight cordon of about a 6 foot diameter.
Follow her over the couch.
You're not playing the game. You're working for some organization that does good.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to believe you just packed up and left me, left Sagria, left Ram, left Jabari for what?
I mean, there's a lot to kind of unpack there. Specifically, do you want to know about what we found, or
We have 45 minutes until Tali is back, so let's start with what you found.
On a destroyed moon base, we found information about a project run by Aegis Tech Solutions.
That Imperial company?
Mm-hmm.
Doing what?
Research on Fae.
Okay. They're the largest IFF distributor in the galaxy.
Not like this. They had some sort of warlock or something in there. Green. Or was it purple?
A warlock.
Green? It was green. Green is purple. What color was it, Mike? So long ago.
So long ago.
I feel like it was green, but I don't know. It was purple. I don't fucking know. Who knows?
It's very possibly green.
We have to pause the episode. We have to go back, and I have to listen to the episode. So sorry, y'all. We'll
Need to go back to listen to episode 3.
We'll reconvene to re-record this next chunk at midnight. Thank you.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Turns out it was mauve. Weird, right?
Yeah. Well, it was more of a. It was. I can't remember if it was a mauve or a puce. Really,
One of those two. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're asking what color the fake court glowed in the moon base on Talgon 3, it was green.
It was green. That's right. That's before we feared the green too much.
Oh, you should always fear the green.
But yeah, now the characters always did, but now the players do.
I had to reinforce the rewriting of color dynamics in this campaign.
You should always fear the green sounds like some sort of weird anti-St. Patrick's Day propaganda slogan.
See, it sounds to me
It's
like
also that.
like an anti marijuana thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the devils let us fear the green.
This campaign is all just one big reefer madness take.
Yeah.
Okay, so you found proof that they were doing something on a moon base with Fae.
Yeah. I found information on other installations. These installations were investigated and led to something a lot bigger.
Were you working for an aid foundation or some kind of secret agent spy organization?
Listen, we don't know.
Both? Can I say both? Because I feel like it's both in this situation.
Amari, I am trying to understand what's been happening.
And I realize how ridiculous it sounds, but I swear that is the truth.
Okay, so where did all these installations lead you? Some vast conspiracy cooked up by Aegis Technical Solutions to do what?
I mean, create artificial Fae and...
Okay, Amari, if you're just going to lie to me...
I'm not lying. I'm not lying. Layla, when do I lie about things? Never, okay? It takes too much effort.
I'm gonna need a roll from you.
Yes. Okay. I'd like to use my covert ops like a spooky shadow and boldly to just leave.
Straight up smoke bomb.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
my
weird.
god.
No. I feel like I'm being a little forceful in this. Just like, hey, listen. Linda, listen. Linda. And I guess I don't think I'm a war hero specifically has any influence with my own wife.
Yeah, you know for a fact Layla has, like, long since looked past that bullshit.
Thank you. So I just have a D6 in influence then. And I'm going to go with a D8 for forceful. Yeah.
Okay. What you're saying sounds ridiculous.
So it's going to be
ridiculous.
ridiculous. Okay. Good and cool. I cannot make that roll with these dice.
Now, with those dice, you can't.
Now, if you had some fancy green void dice.
Well, I'm saying there are plenty of options where that's concerned.
Yeah. I'll, did they relieve me of my sidearm?
No, absolutely not. You're a war hero. They
Thank
wouldn't take anything from you.
You. Perfect. Okay.
Shooter. Oh, wait. No, that's not what you're...
It's how people prove their points.
Kill her.
Okay. Gotcha.
I will pull
So-
an aether from my gun. Like I need you to focus. Mm-hmm. An aether from my gun. 2 aether. Wait. Yeah, 2 aether there. 12, 16, 24, 32 total so far. Haven't rolled it yet. I'm just trying to figure out how much extra I'm gonna need. Fuck it. Here we go. That's a pretty good roll, actually. All right, Mike. Let's find you one of these nice green void dice to roll. Because currently I'm at 23. Nope. God dang it. That's a 2. Okay, have one more, Mike. Okay, and that's a 7. So that'll put me over 32.
Okay. Yeah, 32. Layla will stop and stare at you and say, "You're serious?"
What I mean, yeah. What do you want me to do to prove it to you?
I don't know.
I mean, if you want to come on the ship, I can show you things that are going to make you question a lot of stuff.
Amari, I'm questioning a lot of stuff right now.
I know, and it only gets more ridiculous.
Okay. So, to recap, you left to get away from the spotlight that the hegemony was putting on you. I got that. I understood why at the time. And now you're telling me that you got wrapped up in some insane megacorp plot to create an artificial fairy. And that somehow made it so you needed to hide on a Freeholds Coalition world and try to frame, but probably actually reveal that the planet's governor's boyfriend had Zealot Trooper armor for sale on the black market.
So, I don't know if you've seen, but we're currently on the run from Aegis Tech, who's put out a ridiculous bounty. Right?
I have seen that bounty.
Right, so we went to Seawell to get a device that makes us harder to track because the amount of money being thrown at us to get back the thing that we have of theirs is absurd. Okay, we took a thing from Seawell that we needed and just so happened to stumble on the ridiculousness that is Zealot armor.
Okay.
And unfortunately, Oswald said the wrong thing. But in the moment, it saved him.
Okay. How much do you know about your friend Oswald? Because if you're wrapped up in some kind of vast corporate conspiracy, I really have to question why you're bringing along the son of a board member of Vorpal Corp with you.
That is an excellent question.
Meanwhile, back on the Tiresian.
Oswald just like, who, me? Oh.
I imagine that Oswald, Vesnis, and Florian are playing Queen's Court, to pass away the time. So just for realism, I brought a deck of cards, so I'm just gonna.
Okay. Does it have 6 suits?
No, unfortunately, the illusion only goes so far, Mike.
Damn.
Yeah,
Your
we got to
prop
make
work is
those
lacking.
cards. Honestly, I would buy those. I would buy a Queen's Court deck.
Add it to the merch list.
Yeah.
Well, it's right below t-shirts, but it's above the really fancy Terral Archon decks.
Ooh, I also want those. Anyways,
Just give me the money, Mike, and I'll make. Fuck.
If I had the money, Elliot, I would.
I know. I know you.
I want to pay you so much money to make all of this art.
Oh, shucks.
So
one day,
Florian, how do you think it's going? How do you think it's going?
I mean, they haven't
come onto the ship to try to arrest any of us. So I
Right.
gotta assume. So.
I know that I jest with Amari from time to time, but I do feel bad leaving him to deal with this all on his own. You know how he is about talking with people. Unless they know he's famous and are amicable to his war hero status, well, he doesn't really say much to defend himself. I mean, we walk all over him all the time.
No. It's you gotta wonder what is broken in that man.
I don't know.
Just let him make him such a good pushover.
I just feel bad leaving him on his own, you know?
I think this might be the best scenario to leave him alone. I mean, we kind of saw from the ship the, fanfare that happened when he came off because he's, real good at killing.
Right. And they didn't arrest him. They didn't take him away in handcuffs.
And like I said, have not come to arrest any of us. So also good.
So the question is, if things go south, what do we do? I mean, we can't just leave them in there, right?
Mara's voice will pipe over the comm of the ship in the area you're in, the mess currently, and she will say, "That's not why he's famous, Florian. That isn't why Amari is famous."
What do you mean? He's like, people are always like, "Oh, you're a war hero."
Yes, according to many news sources I have viewed, he is in fact a war hero, subjectively.
So generally what that means is that you are adept at warfare.
There is reasonable proof to assume that, yes, he was in fact very adept at warfare, though it seems as though the incident that caused his fame to increase dramatically was a defensive withdrawal from the planet of Fortin. Without Amari's quick action and leadership, at least based on my tactical appraisal, far more people would have died. I believe he is famous for saving a great many number of people and not killing them.
That is very true. I mean, he's gotten us out of a lot of situations. Saved our hides, for sure. Remember the vampire? Yeah. Got it.
I just did not want you participating in any further falsehoods, that is all.
I'm going to save the anti-imperialism and anti-military speech for later. We can talk about that later. It's fun. I mean, that actually is a good segue into kind of what I was going to say, which is that the rest of this game, Florian is like half playing the game, half just like scrolling through the Kelrakasa Wikipedia.
The archive.
Yeah. The archive, but also like if there's any other, like, I want to know how I don't know anything about the hegemony. I've never known anything about the hegemony, and if we're looking for allies, we need to know if anybody here is one or anyone in the hegemony is, if we can use Amari's war hero status, or if that's going to be like, make things harder. And specifically, I want to know if his wife is going to be a problem. Because the flip side of this conversation that Amari and Layla have been having is that if she is a political mover and shaker, like what we've been doing is real bad for that. So,
all right. You would learn very little about Layla Rakasa as she is known now. The vast majority of what you learn is that she married a war hero a little over 4 years ago.
Can I find anything about like her rise to becoming head of the Kelrakasa Pride? Did that come out of nowhere? Or
Something you would learn pretty quickly is that Kel Rakasa is Amari's last name, but nobody else's.
Oh.
You learn a little bit about Leon naming conventions.
Okay.
Kel is most likely the first syllable of whatever his original last name was. And it was truncated when he married into Layla's family. The Pride Rakasa is the family she belongs to, and by association, Amari does as well.
Oh, okay. So the Rakasa Pride then.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
If you go to learn about Amari the war hero, you would probably actually find his original last name because all of the original reporting would have been using it. If my timeline on that is correct, correct me if I'm wrong, Reed.
No, that's correct.
Yeah. So you would eventually learn that Amari's original last name was Kelheim.
I know I'm not spelling that right, but I'll remember how to pronounce it.
Though any reporting done about him since his marriage retroactively changes his name. Brief summary of the Raset Hegemony. And knowing a little bit about the naming convention now, that name maybe means something different. The Raset is a family name derived from a long lineage of matriarchs who established the first planetary government on Vast Plane. The Hegemony was the last government to break away from the Minos Dominion in the Shattering. Though there is some speculation, especially online, in corners that your younger brother might frequent, that the only reason the Hegemony did that stuck with the Dominion for so long is to backstab them.
Florian suddenly remembers like a horrible chainmail that was like Ross at Hegemony conspiracy, exclamation point, and like has to scroll through his fucking trash folder to find it and quickly reads it and is like, okay, this is like,
it's
okay. All right.
It's very unfounded rumor and conspiracy theory about the reason the Hegemony stuck with Minos for so long was that they're the reason the final battle on Minos actually even happened, because something you would learn in the reading is that the Empire somehow found a way to circumvent a lot of planetary defenses and like interstellar defenses that Minos had, so that they could park their supercarriers in orbit around this enemy world. That just doesn't happen in interplanetary battles unless they're really prepared to do that. Mm-hmm. But that could be easily explained by, all the spies and information brokers that the Empire has access to.
Yeah.
But the fact that the Hegemony was the last power to seek a separate peace, because let's see, the Urson abandoned them first at the start of the war, essentially. The Lycans of Vargas abandoned them pretty quick, midway through the war. And Vast Plane was the last of the big Dominion powers to break away and negotiate a separate peace. Something that has come out in the last year, actually, is that those negotiations were happening in the last days of the war. It's a hot topic for some. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean a lot to most people in the galaxy, but for those who care about such things, the fact that the Rasa Hegemony was actually negotiating behind the back of the Dominion in the last days of the war, some people feel betrayed by that fact. But it was very clear at that point that the Empire was on some kind of genocidal blitz. So the fact that the Minos Dominion never negotiated for peace is also they were prolonging this sort of suffering.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any corporate interest that might be, or even maybe not even corporate, maybe just political interest that might make either the Hania Pride, the Rakasa Pride, or the one that controls Nearind, which I definitely remember.
Neria,
okay. Might make them a potential ally.
You like skimming some stuff, you would definitely see that, and something you're very aware of in your travels with the Cole Foundation would be that a lot of Western Reach and Imperial specifically corporate interests have started to spill out into the Southern and Eastern Reach since the fall of the Dominion. Mm-hmm. With the Dominion gone, it's this opened up this huge power vacuum that people are looking to exploit. Some people are looking to try to help rebuild, but a lot of the bigger corporations are just like, ooh, new markets to exploit. Great. Aegis Tech, Vorpal Corp, all the big ones have been just spilling into that zone.
Sounds about right.
Sometimes with like altruistic stated intentions, but everyone basically knows what's going on.
Yeah.
The Hegemony has been like staunchly opposing a lot of those advances.
Okay.
Now, some might argue that's because they want control of certain sectors of space.
Which is probably true. And also that might be, that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So,
but there's lots of like news articles about Hegemony lawyers contesting like certain practices by different corporations. It's a lot of the same story over and over again about how the Hegemony is backing interests of the local populations over that of encroaching corporate interests.
Okay, cool. That is
great,
interesting and helpful. I'm also like detailing this as I'm beating everyone at Queen's Corner.
Oh,
I have a gambling problem.
Easily beating Oswald. I can't speak for Vesnes, but
Vesnes really doesn't understand the game and just keeps betting everything.
Yeah.
You don't know if she's ever gambled before?
Mm.
It's like we're playing for like buttons, but I'm still just crushing it.
And every time, like a couple of times she'll like stare at her hand, stare up at you after you've explained again how bluffing works. And then she'll just push all of her buttons into the table and be like, huh?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Good hand. I can tell.
Yeah. Florian does the thing where like, he clearly can see like Vesnes's hand and just like kind of pushes it out of vision. Like I can see that, by the way.
There's a scene in 30 Rock where they're all playing poker and Alec Baldwin's character is like, well, Tracy, to Tracy Morgan, two of your cards are facing the wrong way. And he has yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I'm imagining is happening right now.
As the three of you are whiling away the hours, you never see Kala. She apparently never leaves her room. Shay, give me some kind of influence roll here.
All right, I'll do that. I'll even use my my specialization that I picked up after Seawell called Honeypot.
Oh boy. You've specialized. Great. Just what I built the system to do.
Hey. Am I not the perfect person to test out these kinds of things?
You are. You really are. Thank you so much for finding the limits of both my sanity and this game system.
You're welcome.
They are one and the same.
It feels that way sometimes.
And I'll just grab like 2 spare aether from, I don't know, somewhere.
Okay. It would be pretty incredible if you could successfully flirt with this hardened professional bodyguard who is also probably a spy.
I posted that gal like grinding on that royal guard as a joke, but that's also probably like what is like emotionally what is happening here.
Yeah, we'll see how good the roll is. Incredible is 25?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, just FYI, I've added the difficulty ratings to the table plop screen. If you zoom out a little bit, you should see them on the bottom part of it.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
It's a big building. I'll grab one more aether.
Table plop, not a sponsor, but I like their style.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna roll my tactic and talent first because I've got a lot of d6s here, so just don't want to get them all mixed up. All right, that's a 10. Come on. Big numbers, no whammies. Yeah, crud. Well,
Sounds like it went well.
nope, I only got a 20.
You want to take that failure?
What's the danger gauge at?
It's at 1. The mission's just started.
True. Yeah, why not? Hey, at the end of the day, we're also playtesting, so
It's true.
gotta let Mike show off the void mechanics of the people.
Oh, actually, it should actually be at 3 because some void dice were taken earlier. I forgot about that. So, if you take the failure, you will be getting 3 XP.
Well, I got a 6, so all my void dice.
Oh, taking a void dice. Okay. Danger gauge is now at 4.
Oh, shit.
Good. All right. So, what do you say to Paladin Rolly?
So, right, the vibe is very serious, very hardened. He's got a scar. He's seen a lot of shit. I'm
Actively
thinking,
seeing
like,
less shit because one of his eyes looks unusable.
Exactly what I'm saying. So, like, some real, some seemingly genuine, like, human, like, not human, personal connection.
Sapient
Connection, thank you. Listen, I don't care how tough you are, as soon as someone starts being really impressed by all the things you've done.
Is that what you say to him?
No, I'm not saying this stuff to him.
Oh, okay.
I'm setting the tone for the conversation that we are having.
Yeah.
Like,
and
melting the ice, you know?
Sure. You are inquiring about some of his exploits.
Yeah.
And he is at first fairly reticent to speak.
Of course.
But as the moments drag on and it becomes clear that whatever conversation is happening inside the suite of rooms is becoming a lengthier conversation, Rolly appears to relax a little bit. He's still standing at relative attention, but it's not like his hands are held behind his back or anything. His hands are kind of at his side. He will stop doing the deadpan look straight forward thing when you make some passing joke, and you can see the scars on his face twist a little bit as he has this kind of like lopsided, almost roguish grin about him. He will say, "Are you asking? Everyone always asks about the eye. Are you asking about the eye? Because it's a very stupid story."
I can't imagine that anything you do is stupid.
"Well, I am standing out here while those two have some kind of lover's quarrel, so I would say this is pretty stupid."
If you don't want
But
to
I
talk
suppose-
about it, you don't have to.
No, it's fine. It's just, like I said, it's a dumb story.
I'm sure you have better battle scars to talk about.
Generally, honestly, I can say these are the only scars that are worth talking about. The others are on the inside, and I pay a therapist for that.
That's good.
No,
Let's
this
take
I
care of
was
yourself.
just defending one of the Rossettes in a bar. It was a broken bottle came at me. I threw my face in the way. It was very dumb.
Oh, wait, like one of the Rossettes of the Rossette Hegemony.
The one and the same. It was a distaff branch, no one of the main family. Some young pup getting in trouble in a bar on Vargas on some diplomatic journey. It was young in my paladin career. Idiot had a few too much to drink, said the wrong thing to the wrong dog man, and suddenly there was broken glass all up in my face.
Well, I mean, he lived. I hope you got a promotion after that.
The Rossett boy? Oh, yes, he lived. Promotion? No, not... I would say... no. He'll say as he, stares into the middle distance out towards the end of the hallway out a window at Nearind. Vast plain, this ain't.
I mean, if this is nothing comparison to Vast Plain, I can't imagine this is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen.
Really? Even after Wezran Azald?
It's a little too utilitarian, not quite as... well, gaudy is not the word I'm looking for, but you can tell that a lot of thought goes into making this place beautiful.
And it suddenly occurs to you that you've never mentioned you're a wizard to this person.
I'm sort of, realizing that, one, now that I'm not actively hiding it anymore, it is maybe easier to tell. And also, I did pull some stuff on Seawell, and I'm sure Taliania fucking gabbed all over the place. So I'm just gonna roll. I'm gonna roll with the punches.
Okay.
I do think that Wezran Azald socially is a lot like this place. So you have to just go with it. Because if you show, if they think you're caught off guard, you're dead.
And when you just kind of roll with that, he will appraise you a bit differently. He will smile and say, I think we both know what we're doing here. And while I appreciate the sentiment, can we at least be professional about this?
Fine. Boring, though.
Well, until tonight, anyway.
I think that like any like looking at each other has been kind of like little sideways things to kind of, keep it up, keep up appearances. But Shay will like do like a full 3/4 and say, "Oh, you get time off from this bodyguard thing, do you?"
Well, we do work in shifts.
All right.
Though I wouldn't mind putting in a little bit of extra overtime if it means analyzing the prefix staff.
I think that's a genuine laugh. I look forward to it.
So long as we can keep business as business.
Of course. Totally professional.
As Shay secures a date for the evening inside the suite.
All right. Good session, everyone.
Layla will look at you next to her on the couch and say, "Did you even know who he was? Your Avia friend."
I mean, I didn't ask. I just assumed that...
Oh, shocker.
Yeah, I know. I assumed whoever got assigned to my team would have been cleared by the Cole Foundation.
And this foundation that's an aid organization and a spy organization and whatever it is else you've been doing, just through you and Corpo Spawn and some kind of eco-terrorist and a failed wizard into a team by chance.
I guess.
You guess.
Amari,
I understand you didn't want any part of all of the politics. I get that. God damn it, it's why I fell in love with you, but if you keep your head in the sand, you're not going to notice when the sharks come up. Land sharks, Amari.
Oh. Yeah.
Don't forget about the land sharks, ever. They're a scourge on our people.
Yeah.
You've been away for a year, and you've already forgotten about the land sharks.
Do you remember what
They ate
happened to
2
Grandpa?
of your kids. You had 5 until the land sharks showed up. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's all on the archive. It's all there. Footage and everything. I don't know. Didn't want to think about it. And that's my fault.
Okay. Here's what's going to happen. You, under the auspices of Pride Rakasa, were a spy inside the Cole Foundation. You reported to me everything that you found. These people who are with you, you've been cultivating as assets. This plot you've uncovered is part of, I don't know, some kind of Imperial development, probably. Even if it's not, it's close enough to the truth. If we stick to this story, the Hegemony will back you. And maybe we won't have to turn over your friend to the freeholds. Because while there's a corporate bounty on his head as well, they are trying to press charges for falsifying evidence. The implication seems to be that they're accusing us of trying to create some scenario where they're moving illegal weapons. That is not what happened. I trust you, but that is not, your story is not what happened anymore. It can't be.
Okay.
So what you found is part of some larger imperial scheme.
Potentially. It might be Aegis tech.
I am not talking about the Fey stuff, Amari. I am not talking about the Fey stuff.
Oh. Okay. All right, cool.
I am talking about that zealot armor. Maybe it's some rogue faction within the Empire. I don't know. But they're smuggling that sort of weapon, and that is the plot that you stumbled across while within the Cole Foundation. And all of what you found led you to Seawell. And Tali Rahania just happened to be there as well, and almost blew your cover. Can you sell that?
Oh, I can sell it. I'm a war hero.
Okay. Then when she gets back here, we are going to have sworn statements from you and your cultivated assets affirming all of this. We will take this to the Geminus, and she will in turn take that back to Fastplane. Okay?
Sounds like a winning plan.
Good, because I am making all of this up right now.
It's really good. It's a really good plan.
And you can see kind of the tremble in her voice and like the shaking of her shoulders, and it like looks like there's moisture collecting in her eyes, like she's about to have a panic attack.
Hey, it's a good plan. Okay, we got this.
Okay, yeah. That elf with you.
Mm-hmm.
They're your engineer.
Mm-hmm. Damn good one.
That's it.
Yeah. Not gonna lie,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they're out there flirting with Paladin.
The paladin who has been sent to spy on you and everyone you have with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Shay, right as you have sealed the deal on your date, the door opens behind you, and Layla will say, Shay, was it a pleasure to make your acquaintance? Please come in. I'd love to have a discussion with you as well. Amari has told me so much about you.
And he has told me so much about you. And I'm assuming we are both lying. Or I assume she can tell I am also lying about that. And I
You look at each other like liars.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Of course, I'd love to have a chat. Thank you for keeping me company out here, Paladin Rolly. And I will follow her inside.
He will bow ever so slightly and say, Wizard Selnam.
Glide into the room.
Mm-hmm. Amari, you can cut the sexual tension between those two outside the room with a knife.
With his aether blade.
As the door closes.
Just like,
And you see, like, the last thing you see before the door closes is just like a slightly satisfied smile on the paladin's face.
just like, God damn, Shay works fast.
I mean,
It's not even been a half hour yet.
were you gonna wait until he was off shift, or like did we walk in on something about to go down? What was happening?
What do you think?
I don't know.
Made out of the hallway?
I don't know. You're very effective.
Yes, I am.
Good engineer.
Yes, clearly they're very good at engineering lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, she will like get close to you, Shay, and say, Layla Rarakasa, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Shalom. Pleasure to meet you as well.
I probably know a little bit more about you than you know about me because of a certain wanted notice that has been
yes, and the fact
made
that
very public.
Yes, and the fact that your husband doesn't like to talk about anything ever unless absolutely necessary. I didn't
That
know
is
your name
becoming
until
very
about
clear.
half an hour ago.
Wow, really, Amari? We have 3 children together.
Get him in trouble. Get him in trouble.
Did you know we have 3 children together?
Did I pry that out of him?
Do you know
No,
any of their
maybe?
names? Has he ever said their names?
Absolutely not. I did. It was like a whole bit for a while where I was like just sort of throwing out large numbers of children because he wouldn't talk about his family.
Oh, I see. Thank you, I guess, for keeping him alive through everything you've been through.
It goes back and forth. All joking aside, Amari is a good leader, takes care of his team. Could be a little more personable, but everybody has their flaws.
I'm working on it, okay?
Not very hard.
No, not very hard.
Anyway,
As she gets close to you, Shay, you can immediately feel the envelope of discretionary, sound-baffling etherics around you, and you can immediately tell that it's coming from a device in her pocket.
yeah. So how bad is it, and how are we going to play it?
It's very bad, and we're going to play it carefully. She begins to explain the plan to you and Amari, with but a half hour remaining until the matriarch returns. That time quickly disappears as you get your story straight. Messages are sent to Oswald and Florian, looping them in on precisely what's going on. But those messages go unread. Oswald. Florian.
Yes.
It is about 40 minutes, 45-ish minutes after your friends have left, when you are still in the midst of playing card games. Florian, you're kind of like casually scrolling through background information on the Hegemony, and Vesnes is desperately trying to figure out how poker works.
Oh no, that's not even what they're playing.
We haven't even gotten to Queen's Court yet.
Yeah, this is Go Fish, and
Yeah.
she keeps going all in. But it is about that time when you hear and feel the first explosion. Mara's calm, tiny voice says over the shipboard comm, "I believe this platform is under attack," as the second explosion rocks the floating berth that you find yourselves on. And Mara will say, "Yes, it's definitely under attack." And exactly who is attacking this floating platform and exactly what kind of danger Oswald and Florian are in, I think we will have to find out next time. Because as always, you can find us online at MatcomRPG on Twitter and Instagram. You can also email us at materialcomponentsrpg@gmail.com. We always love hearing from all of our listeners.
You can find me on Twitter at CryOutOlivia. I am always there talking about D&D and other RPGs and also just a lot of other nerd stuff. So come hang out.
You can find me on Twitter at Elliot C. Lewis. I'm an illustrator and graphic designer, doing a lot of tabletop RPG and other fan art. You can also support me on Patreon and Ko-fi. Links to both of those are in my Twitter profile.
You can find me at The Readamus on Instagram and Twitter, where I post jokes and lots of photos of nature, so come check it out.
And you cannot find me on social media, but what you can do is support our show by rating and reviewing it on whatever platform you're listening to it on. Please, please, please do so.
Indeed, and finally, you can find me personally on Twitter and Instagram at MKGorgoni, where I'm always happy to talk about all things material components. But as always, the world is chaos, so please, be kind to each other. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.